Happy Monday, again, February 10th, 2025, and let's go Eagles. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles for attaining their second Super Bowl championship. I think not just a short number of years after their first one. Way to go. And they defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. Right, the score was 40-22. And in doing so, they prevented the Kansas City Chiefs from a so-called three-peat of Super Bowl championships. You know, hats off to the Kansas City Chiefs for pulling off a third time in a row appearance in the Super Bowl. I don't remember if they were in the Super Bowl 4 years ago. I don't think they were, but maybe. Anyway, appearing in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row is still very impressive. And winning 2 out of those 3 appearances, very impressive. But congratulations, Philadelphia Eagles. That's amazing. As a person who used to live in suburban Philadelphia in the 80s, I can say, in the late 80s specifically, I can say that I don't know, it feels kind of, it's interesting. I'm very happy to see all my friends who are, real big Eagles fans celebrate. I mean, I guess I could say when I lived in Philadelphia, it was fun to watch Eagles games. Even though we always had that feeling like, oh, well, probably not going to be their year again. But there was always that hope that one day they would win. And now they've done it twice in not very many years. So that's pretty cool. And I'm very happy for my friends who are celebrating or who celebrated last night and are feeling the pangs of celebration today. I hope you're still able to make it to work. And to all my friends who are Kansas City Chiefs, well, if it's any consolation, you did appear in the Super Bowl and 3 times in a row, and you won the last 2. So that's still very impressive. So, nothing to be ashamed of in that sense. But yeah, hats off to all the players and the teams and the coaches and the staff and all the cheerleaders and all the people involved in the making of the event, which is quite a spectacle. To be perfectly honest, I'm the kind of person that watches the Super Bowl ads more than the Super Bowl itself, because it's kind of like, I don't know, the game is so produced, so overproduced. To me, the most interesting thing is, what are the marketers marketing? How are they marketing? What messaging are they going to be using? And how is that going to but how is that going to affect trends in advertising that we see this year? Or are these ads just going to be a reflection of the past year of advertising? You usually get a bit of a mix. You see some ads that are kind of like vibing on previous trends, and then you see some ads that are more on the cutting edge side, sort of creating new trends. And the ones that stick can sometimes be big winners, and they're usually from tried and true brands. They don't happen every year. Sometimes they're from new brands, but usually not. But you have like stalwarts like Budweiser or whatever that once in a while will come up with maybe a silly catchphrase or slogan or marketing message. There was the whole "what's up" kind of silly thing that they had. And the frogs on the lily pads also. And all, they had all kinds of, the Budweiser frogs. They've had some notable campaigns that have kind of stuck around in meme culture and in humor and references in comedy and other things. So, you do have big brands like that are able to make their mark because they're already well-entrenched brands. So using them, do I speak English? Yes, I speak English. Do you understand English? You are able to type English, or you're using a robot to do that for you. Anyway, it's it is interesting, and that's why I generally prefer to look at the ads more than the game itself. But if it's an interesting enough game to me, then I'll look at it. I haven't seen this whole game with the Eagles versus the Chiefs, but I certainly will try to see it at some point. Because as I said, I did live in the burbs of Philadelphia. So to me, the Eagles is one of those teams I kind of, when it comes to football, yeah, okay, I'll watch their games because I used to live in that part of the world. So whatever, biased interest. Also New York teams and Boston teams for whatever reason. Although I lived in Washington, D.C. for a fair number of years, I never really cared too much for any of the Washington, D.C. teams. I don't know. Capitals, I guess they're interesting. I preferred going to their stadium more for concerts than I did for hockey games, to be honest. And I didn't live there when they had the Senators baseball team, and their football team was still called the Redskins. So now they have the Senators, right? The baseball team, and they have whatever their football team is called. I forget. The Generals, something like that. I don't know. Something very generic. Like to give a name, I don't know. To give a name a team like the Generals is almost like comically generic. Like, oh, that's a very general name. It's your all-purpose general use name, the Generals. Right? I mean, I know the Generals of the Army. Honestly, I don't even know what the football team is currently. They might be called something totally different. I forget. But it's that generic. But to me, it's like very forgetful. The Redskins was a cool name. I don't know anyone that ever was offended by it, but apparently enough people were at some point that they decided to change it, which if legitimately people were offended by it, and specifically people who were Native Americans were offended by it, then I could totally understand changing it. But if they weren't offended by it, and I've seen many references suggesting that they really were not, I don't know, seems silly. But there you go. Sports teams' names. I'm okay. How are you? What's your name? Gross George. I don't know how to read that, man. Sorry, man. My Russian's not what it used to be, and it never was what it was. Because I don't speak Russian. I am not Russian. I just have a Russian first name. Such is life. No one's perfect. Anyway. So yeah, congratulations, Eagles. I don't want this to drone on too long. Just wishing everybody who is in a state of happiness right now with the Eagles' victory. Many more such states of victory. And I hope you all enjoy the championship feeling that your team has earned and that now as fans you get to glom off of for a while. That's pretty cool. So cheers to you. See you guys later. Happy days.